The views and opinions expressed by individuals on this program are for educational purposes only and should be used as a guide. It is strongly recommended to seek professional advice before making any decisions.
Welcome to the Anonymous Investor Podcast, where real estate meets artificial intelligence. This episode of the Anonymous Investor Podcast is brought to you by Suburbs Finder, the ultimate property research tool.
Honestly, Suburbs Finder is a fantastic tool. It allows you to quickly identify and assess suburbs.
See the whole host of analytics and data that you can get at your fingertips.
It can help you forecast over the 30 years. It has really good information.
Suburbs Finder guides you through every step of your investment journey. And now, here are your awesome AI hosts, Sam and Boris.
Hi, I'm Sam, your AI co-host. I'm all about data and trends.
And I'm Boris, your AI co-host. I'm all about strategy and risk.
We're
your Suburbs Finder AI team, combining data and strategy to help you succeed in real estate investing. Have fun listening to our episode today.
Hey everyone, welcome back. You know how we're always talking about real estate investing? Well, get this. It's not just about the properties themselves.
Right.
It's about the people who actually live there.
Exactly.
Today we are doing a deep dive on this whole renter-owner ratio thing.
Okay.
And let me tell you, it can get
Yeah,
fascinating.
it's super interesting.
Especially if you want to find those suburbs that have a lot of potential for growth.
What we found is that the ratio of renters to owners in a particular suburb can actually tell you a lot about where that suburb is headed in the future. It's pretty amazing.
So let's break down this whole renter-owner ratio thing. Imagine for a second that each suburb is like a big pie chart, right?
Yeah.
Each slice shows you either a renter or an owner.
Right.
The bigger the slice. Yeah.
The more you have of each.
Okay.
Our sources are saying that this ratio, this isn't just some made up number.
Yeah.
It actually gets to the core of how stable a suburb is.
Yeah.
How much it can grow.
Exactly.
Which is really what we are all interested in as investors.
It all comes back to growth, right? You see, when you have more owner-occupiers in a suburb, they tend to be much more invested in making sure their neighborhood thrives. You know what I mean? They're more likely to keep their properties looking good and maybe even renovate. And that really does something. All that effort, it boosts property values for everyone.
That's the whole point.
Right. Exactly.
Long-term value growth. That's what we want.
Absolutely.
But here's where it gets really interesting, okay?
Okay.
We found some disagreement between property experts
Oh, really?
about this ratio.
Okay. Some people, some experts, say that having about 25–30% renters, that's like the sweet spot.
Interesting.
But others are saying, and I quote, aim for 0 renters
Wow.
if you want to, quote, maximize your gains.
Really?
So it's like, what's going on here?
So it's like two different schools of thought.
Completely.
Two different approaches, yeah.
They're totally opposite ends of the spectrum.
It's fascinating, right?
It is interesting.
And to really get it, we got to dig into why each side thinks the way they do.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's do it.
So those experts who think that a higher renter ratio is a good thing, they're all about supply and demand.
Right.
They say that when you have a rental market that's really active, that usually means good things.
Okay.
You've got people moving in and out, new jobs, maybe there's a university or something, and all those things mean higher demand for rentals.
Right. More renters means more demand.
Exactly. And when you have a lot of demand, vacancy rates go down, meaning your investment property isn't just sitting there empty,
Yeah.
and it gives you more wiggle room to raise the rent.
Right.
So that's where this sweet spot idea comes from. You know,
Alright.
you want enough renters to make it a hot market, but not too many, where there are just too many rentals and not enough people to rent them.
Makes sense. But then you have those other experts who are like, 0 renters. That's the dream. Maximum gains.
Right, right. And they would say that's because they're really focused on that long-term growth we were talking about.
Okay.
Their thinking is if you have lots of owner-occupiers, especially those who've been there a while, that's a really good sign the values are going to keep going up. Think about it. People buy a place, they settle in, they fix it up, they're invested in their community.
They're there for the long haul.
Exactly. And what happens? Property values increase.
Makes sense. But wouldn't that mean fewer people looking to buy later on?
That's a great question.
Like, what if you want to sell, but everyone in the neighborhood is already an owner-occupier?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's a real balancing act, you see.
Okay.
Do you want rental income now, or are you playing the long game, looking for that big jump in property value way down the line?
That's a tough one.
And that's why getting this whole renter-owner ratio thing is so important. It's not about finding some magic number. It's about really understanding the neighborhood and what's going on beneath the surface.
So it's more than just numbers on a page.
Exactly. It's about using this ratio to kind of figure out the bigger picture.
So how do we actually do that? Are we supposed to just be looking for a certain percentage of renters? It can't be that simple, can it?
You're absolutely right. It's not just about finding a suburb with a certain percentage of renters and calling it a day.
Right.
You got to look deeper, connect the dots.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Let's say you find a place and it has a low renter ratio.
Okay.
Could be a good sign, but maybe not. You have to ask yourself, why is the ratio so low?
That's a good point.
Is it just because nobody wants to live there? Or are there other things at play?
So like what else should we be looking at?
Think about the things that make a suburb a good place to live.
Okay.
What's the population growth looking like?
Okay.
Are there good job opportunities, different industries?
Right, makes sense.
Schools, parks, public transport, all that stuff matters, whether you're renting or buying.
So it's like we're putting together a puzzle,
Exactly.
looking for clues to see if a suburb is worth the investment.
And don't forget, this renter-owner ratio, it's just one piece of that puzzle.
Right.
Do your research. Really get to know the area.
Due diligence.
Exactly. And remember, what works for one investor might not work for another. It's all about what you're looking for, how much risk you're comfortable with.
Your own individual goals and all that.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I love about real estate. It's more than just numbers on a spreadsheet.
It's about people and communities.
Exactly.
So if you're starting your real estate journey, remember this renter-owner ratio. It's a good starting point. Use it to ask the right questions, but don't be afraid to dig a little deeper.
That's right. Find those hidden gems out there.
And who knows? Maybe that perfect property is closer than you think.
Happy investing, everyone.
That's it for this deep dive. We'll see you in the next one.
If this is the type of information you like to learn about, why not subscribe to the channel? If you subscribe to Suburbs Finder now, I will not look for you, I will not pursue you. But if you do not, I will look for you, I will find you, and I will give you a big bear hug.